Hi guys, I've been frustrated with OTS packs for a while now. If Konami gave me the brief to fix OTS packs, this is what I'd do. So, what does Konami currently get wrong with OTS packs? I think the frustrating point from players would be that you go to an OTS store and you're like, right, okay, go into an OTS store and I'm going to buy my OTS pack, I pay my entry fee or whatever, I'm playing XYZ deck, and you come up with infinite things where it's sort of like the pack you get just feels really not valuable. You'll just get frustrated with the fact that you like pull things that aren't relevant, haven't been played, and are just completely irrelevant. Either that or it's just timing. They're not in the right format, they're uncompetitive, and I feel like there's not enough good generic things in OTS packs. There should be random sort of fluff cards, and then often there is sort of zero reprint value. They have hit some reasonable points, and like those are things that you can sort of celebrate in an OTS pack, but oftentimes you'll find really, really bad cards inside an OTS pack. This is what I sort of feel they've tried to do. The sort of staple thing is they'll pick archetypal cards, 1 to 2, and then 1 to 2 staple cards. Um, as of lately, I feel like they've leaned more on archetypal cards for the ultimates, right? Which I think is a problem actually, because the staple cards are always the ones that have the long term value, which sort of players know when they're buying. Oh, okay, they pull their ultimate rare, infinite impermanence, or droplet. Those cards have longer value, and then even Thrust a while back had longer term value and felt more valuable whenever you pulled it. So I feel like players are a bit more happy with those as ultimate rare slots than, I don't know, random guff where you're like, oh, okay, this is just a card that will get cycled out as the format changes and that deck gets hit. And then often I find that timings are really the problem as well. There's about 125 days between OTS pack releases, so you'll find a problem where there was a deck that was relevant in the previous format, and then it's been cycled out, right? Whether it's just been power creep or new more powerful things have come out and they've just sort of pushed it down, or the ban list has hit the deck and then you're like, oh, it's not actually that good anymore, and this OTS pack that we're currently still using is supporting it. And that's just a conflict between Konami's OTS cycle and when they're releasing other products, right? Because you'll have a number of products come out, and then they'll be like, "Oh, that card should be like a common in whatever OTS pack," but it's sort of, it just falls in a bad window um, for when it's going to get reprinted. So what's currently going to be for this next OTS pack, the current big sets that'll affect it? Duelist Advance, Justice Hunters, Doom of Dimensions. Those are the big sets. Obviously, you'll have the Megatins in September, but these two sets will come out and massively impact it. Doom of Dimensions, we don't know yet, but I still think that it should be something whereby you want to include a couple of cards that will be become more like common around the time of Doom and Dimensions. You're sort of like you want to hit those important reprints for relevant cards that you know will be relevant, and not just some random guff sort of anime or rogue archetype that'll just probably not see as much competitive support. This is kind of the problem. Why is there bad cards in OTS packs? There should just be generic good stuff, things that are relevant in the metagame, or commons that they should try to drive into the ground so that everyone can have them accessible. And this is just the average number of days between OTS packs, and then they've sort of changed what the sort of adjusted days is between them all. So this is what an OTS pack should not be. An OTS pack should not have any of these awful cards. Anyone who's pulled any of these cards in an OTS pack is just sort of like, ah, cool, more toilet paper. You're paying entry pack. You're like, I'd like to see something that's relevant. So one of the things that's really frustrating about OTS packs is whenever they have really, really, really bad, specifically any of these cards listed here, have never seen competitive play. It's sort of unacceptable that they're like, oh, we're going to print some random guff in your tournament pack for competitive play. It's just really frustrating. I have a basic sort of rule at the bottom there. Whereas if the card hasn't seen like YCS or regional TCG, OCG play, it really shouldn't be in an OTS pack. I kind of feel that the OTS pack should just be for tournament cards. All of the examples I've sort of listed here, there are infinite more, really just shouldn't see anything near an OTS pack. because they either haven't been relevant or are just completely uncompetitive cards. So ultimate rare slots. Blue Eyes is confirmed for Tournament Pack 28. That one's locked in. The other slots I sort of feel are up for grabs. There are some choices that I've thrown up here, which I all feel would be reasonable. Dominus Impulse would be quite nice as an ultimate rare, and they could sort of do all the Dominus cards in a sort of series, which would be quite nice. And then Habakiri and SP Little Knight, both also very deserved ultimate rare slots. I've got 5 other cards just to the sort of the side there. Metaltronus, Lightning Storm, Typhon, Sealsban, and Ash Blossom. Now, everyone's been crying out for Ash Blossom for forever, so we'll just sort of park that. But Metaltronus and Lightning Storm, I feel like would be amazing ultimate rares. From a purely aesthetic point of view, apart from the fact they're currently have seen meta play and could see it in the future. Metaltronus has fallen off a bit, so I could see a scenario where whenever they were designing this OTS pack, because the timeline or the window of your OTS pack is so long that you like they design it so far advanced. Blue Eyes was seeing play, it was really, really good. And then they're like, oh, this Metaltronus card is seeing lots of play. Let's make it an ultimate rare. I could see that happening. I don't see a scenario where Sealsban could be an ultimate, but it wouldn't be an awful pick. At the moment, it's seeing a lot of play in sideboards. It could see more play in the future as a clean detonator out, as a card that I don't like it going first, but people would potentially play it going first. Yeah. And then also Zeus got an ultimate. I think Typhon also kind of deserves an ultimate. But whether or not it gets it, a bit more unlikely. I don't know how much more it like sort of deserves it. But realistically, it's like Blue Eyes is a really clean ulti. And if they do a similar sort of art style to this, it'd be really, really nice. So for the supers, I've gone with quite a few here. I don't know if I've counted out extra supers here, but realistically, any of these cards could be supers and would be fine supers. The ones that deserve it the most, I feel, are Prayers and Baldric. All the other Bestials have a super rare print. Baldric is a common or an ultra, which is horrible. It should be able to be a secret or a super, and then you can actually match it with your other ones. It's, I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine. Realistically, Baldric should have been a super in the set it was printed in, or in an OTS super immediately thereafter. The fact that it hasn't been is just frustrating. I feel DD Savant Kepler would be a good pick in terms of it has an ultra, it has a common, it could be a super, it would be fine. And it would make sense with the DDD support coming out in that sort of newer set that'll be at the tail end of when this OTS pack comes out, which allows it to stay sort of alive and a bit more relevant for longer. There's potentially other DDD supers that would and could make more sense than Kepler, but it's just sort of whenever you're designing an OTS pack, you kind of want to make sure that you've got like cards that are ahead of time. Chaotic Elements. This card should get a super. It's currently a common. The same thing with Dragon's Mind. AI Meet You also could get a super, and then Saji as well. For the two Link monsters, Malice is a playable deck. They're both played in Malice, and I think they, as far as I'm aware, they both have commons, and that's it. So they both deserve supers, and this is what the slot is here for. In terms of commons, you'll see that I've thrown Sealsban and Ash Blossom in here as commons. That's the notable thing in this section. I think it would be so cool if in an OTS pack you had the chance to pull an Ultimate Ash Blossom and a common in the same OTS pack. I think that would be amazing. Talent, Magnamut, these cards realistically are a fiver, right? So if they were also accessible as commons, we can make these cards more sort of, oh, they're staple cards, and let their sort of lowest price point be a common entry barrier. I could see Droplet in here and then Imperm in an OTS pack. I don't see why they didn't throw that in there as well. I've also included other cards, Lunalight, Black Sheep. Could also be a super. I've thrown it in as a common. It maybe deserves the upgrade, actually. And then some of the future-proof cards in here are the Xyz monsters. So the Masquerade, the Nash Knight, and the Dice Smasher. All of these cards as OTS commons would be really, really good. Super Poly is a nice staple. You can't really have enough copies of Super Poly because it'll never just be this is the cheapest thing. Like all sort of copies of Super Poly are worth a little bit, especially in recent years because so many of them have just been high rarity prints. So all of those high rarity prints kind of outpace the other ones of all the commons, but those commons are kind of old, so they hold a wee bit of value as well. Another wee common print would help it. Mistaken Arrest is seeing play at the moment, but throwing it in as an OTS common would just be a nice wee catch. And with Striker having more support in the OCG, I feel like it's another card that they could throw another couple of cards into an OTS pack, as well as the Copernicus, which ties it up nicely with the Kepler as well. A couple more common options. So I think Gilgamesh would be really nice as a common option, along with other staples, Lancia, Nib, Retaliating Sea would be a good choice. It previously got an OTS Super, throw it in as a common, it'd be quite nice. Pankratops, lots of play in the OCG at the moment to beat the Yummy deck. Heavy Polymerization is seeing lots of play with the Lunalite cards, and throwing it in as an OTS common would be very nice. And then Underworld Goddess and Prosperity, those as commons would be really, really nice. And the Xyz Monster number Ragn Affinity is for Vanquish Soul K9, I believe. And then you've also got Druis Worm as a common. I think having Druis Worm and then also like throwing in the Bestials in an OTS pack just because they've been out for so long, so many years. They feel like cards that just deserve OTS reprints at this point, especially because they refuse to give them anywhere else. Time Wizard reprints, there's a number of them here that would be really, really good Time Wizard reprints. All of these are at least £5 or above. And then, I don't know, throwing them in as an OTS common allows you to just get value out of your OTS pack. And then it also incentivizes these to be given out as tournament support for Time Wizard events. So the idea is that if you're a Time Wizard player and you don't play current, you could pull a Thunder King Ryo as a common. That's kind of nice. It's a couple of quid, and you can throw it into a couple more of your Time Wizard decks. Or if you pull some of the high rarity cards, like the Ultimate or whatever, from the current set, if you don't use it or you get the Blue Eyes or whatever, you can then throw that away and then trade it off to the other players, get some equity that way. That would be quite nice. I think every single card here is at least 5 or above, and having an OTS common or even an OTS super for any of these would reduce their price significantly. Magical Android got announced for Battles of Legend, which is very nice. Thunder King Ryo has had a recent reprint in Rarity Collection. However, it's still going to be quite high in terms of its value because it's in the nostalgia pool, which means that card won't be seen as much as all the other ones. But yeah, every single one of these cards should just be hopefully reprint them into the ground. None of these cards should be high value because none of these cards, except for sort of Absolute Zero, Thunder King Ryo, Magical Android, are like overly played. Royal Oppression maybe as well. But every single one of these is just worth lots of money, and it's just frustrating from a point of view of I want to get into this retro format, but all these cards are worth random amounts of money, and I do not want to spend all this money for a Gemini Soldier, etc. That's it all. Cheerio. Bye bye.